game, my first home game last week, and I had a really disappointing loss. Started the game out, I thought played hard. We were in good position, had a nice control of the game all the way through the first half. Turned them over late in the first half. Had an opportunity to go ahead by 2 touchdowns, but he got bogged down there in the red zone, and then went for a field goal, had field goal blocked, and they scored on that. Instead of going into halftime 10-3, we went down 10-7, and I think that was a turning point in the football game. And I just came out in the second half, came out like we wanted to in the second half. I told the defense we need to get them we need to get them out. We got them off the field. Got bogged down a little bit on offense also in the second half, and had some 3 and outs, and consequently had some breakdowns on defense and ended up losing the football game. Really disappointing in that, but it's a part of the growth process. There's a lot of things we need to do better, and going forward, there's a lot of things that we will do better. The kids have a good spirit, so I'm not concerned as much as how they're going to play, because we'll come out and we'll play again another good football game this week, and we'll get after our next opponent.
You said on Saturday you're going to try and get more involved with the defense. What does that entail? What exactly will you be doing this week?
Well, I've been more overseeing it and meeting with the defense, game planning, not as extensively as I would as a defensive coordinator, but being involved in the game plan. I'm just getting more involved with the game planning. We'll come back this afternoon. I'll meet with the defense this afternoon. We'll sit down and watch video together, and I'll be a part of installing the game plan, and probably a little bit more active in making suggestions and calling things on Saturdays.
What exactly is the game plan for Alabama State now? They're coming off a loss to Alcorn. I mean, are they coming in angry? I mean, what are you?
Well, they're going to come in with like Grambling did. You come in after a loss, you come in desperate, and Grambling came in desperate, and they played a good football game, and they'll come the same way. But we've got to be really diligent. The thing we've got to do is shore up the things that we have not done good, and obviously the run game part of it, we've got to be better. That's a lot to do with how we fit up, fitting in the right place, making sure that we play with good eyes and end up reading our keys and being in the right position to stop the run. We need to do a better job of the things. Against Grambling, Grambling had a couple long runs against us. Grambling caught us in blitzes. And you get caught in the blitz, it leaves scenes, but we still should have made the play, because there still should have been 2 guys over there. The guy who was covering the back and the guy who was blocking the guy on the edge should have been over there, and we should have had people, but we weren't where we were supposed to be. And we'll get that shored up, and and that's a part of playing with good eyes, making sure that I'm seeing what I need to see and getting where I need to get on the football field.
What do you communicate to your defensive coordinator after like a second week of having over 30 points put up on him? What do you tell the defensive line?
Just keep calling defense. Just keep calling defenses, because people have a tendency to think that there's something wrong with the calls. I'd never believe that. There's never everything wrong with the calls. It's wrong. It's executing the calls, and we need to do a better job of that. I've said it earlier. We need to do a better job of making sure we close all the air out of things, and not be tackle-oriented as a defense, but playmaking-oriented. And what I mean by that is I'm not as concerned with making tackles as I am with doing my job and making sure that I close out the air between me and the guy who's outside of me, or the guy who's inside of me. Not picking back door, but making sure I always make that ball go to my backside arm. If we're playing defense like that, then we always got a chance to make sure we corral it and tackle it. It's when the ball hits us at our front side arm, which gives us a problem and leaves seams in the defense. That means we haven't completely closed all the air out, everything that we need to close the air out of.
Coach, when it comes to defense, everybody says that, offense is a thinking man's game, defense is reaction.
No doubt.
You all's reaction right now?
Well, it's a combination of us playing the defense and fitting up the way the defense is supposed to fit up. Every time you play defense, everybody's responsible for a gap. If this is my gap here and I'm responsible for that, there's a man outside me who's responsible for the gap over there. My job is to make sure I close all the air out between me and him and his gap. And what I mean by that is, if the ball is going that way and I close it out to my front arm, I make the ball go to my backside arm. Now the guy backside of me has got to do his job, and everybody, and we fit the defense together. And we need to fit up better.
Coach, do you consider your defense a young defense?
We have some young people out there. We started, a couple freshmen out there, but that's not why. I mean, we're having a problem. We're having a problem because we need to make sure that everybody does the job exactly the way we need to do the job.
Learn the way defenses rotate for players and know exactly. We overlap. We're driving a back out of bounds to the sideline as my friend, or inside to my support.
Exactly right.
That's a learning process.
And the whole thing about playing defense, especially against the run, is when you play defense, is you're always trying to build a fence. And what you want to do is always make the ball spill to the outside of the fence, because usually on the outside of the fence there's somebody standing out there unblocked. So that's what we've got to do a better job of, and that's what I mean by making that ball go to our backside arm. We've got to do a better job of that, and we'll get better. We've got some guys in there. We started freshmen at nose guard, and then we started junior college transfer there. They're basically fresh guys, and they're growing with the defense, and we're going to be better as we go forward. People, see the way we play. We've had some tough games, and we've not played up to standard. But we will play up to standard. We're going to continue to do what we do, continue to teach, and continue to grow. And all those guys who are new, the freshmen that we start, KJ Arrington at linebacker, he's a true freshman. And so we've got some young guys, but that's not the reason why. The reason why is we got to fit up right together. And once we fit up right together, all that stuff becomes inconsequential.
Walk us through the quarterback play, because we saw Jalen get the start and then Christian come in. Derek Ponder come in.
Well, Jalen got the start, and that was because of disciplinary reasons for Ponder. But Jalen came in. He did a nice job of controlling the ball in the first quarter, making some explosive plays with his legs. Would have liked to have seen him complete some more balls, throwing wise. But he orchestrated the offense, led us on the touchdown drive. And then, in the second quarter, we got a little bogged down on offense and didn't matriculate the ball downfield to get first downs. And so later on, we put Derek in, and Derek, gave us a little life, led a couple touchdown drives. Also, but even with him, we had a couple drives that were bogged down that we really need to. We've got to do a good job of making sure that we run the ball. We didn't do as good job as we had in the previous couple games of running the football against this last team. We'll figure that out and get that done, and we'll be continuing, because we're not the type of team that's going to sit back and throw the ball 45, 50 times a game and beat people. That's not who we are. So, we can throw the ball efficiently. We'll do a good job. We don't want to throw that ball more than 25 times a game or so. And so if we can get back to the balance, as we will work on getting back to the balance this week, we'll be all right on that part of the football game also.
Walk us through, what have you seen, heard from Alabama State? What's something that sticks out to you about that squad?
Well, I think they're really good on defense. I think they play with a lot of passion and a lot of intensity on defense. They have a quarterback that can run around, and you got to tackle that guy. They have a really good receiver out at number 19. Looks like a really good player to me. They have a really good running back. Well, actually, 2 running backs, and they have a big offensive line. So we're going to have to do a good job of making sure we take the quarterback runs away from them against, and that's what we do. Even in the Grambling game, their quarterback run. We didn't. That's what they did good. We didn't let the quarterback run. There's some other things got on us, and we got to shore that up. But every time we come out and play defense, we're going to take away from you what you do best, and that's what we've done in previous games. And hopefully we'll get a chance to do that this week and take away the quarterback runs, but also make sure all his inside seams are closed down so the running back can't hurt us.
Walk us through your kicker. What's his confidence level like right now? What are you seeing out of him in practice?
As I said earlier, he overthinks digging a hole. You get a kick blocked. That's not his fault that we let somebody run in the B gap and block a kick. I think he's all right. He's hitting the ball well. He's practicing well. I think he's got his mind back in the position it needs to be in order to be a consistent kicker. The punting game, we're all right there, but I think Salazar will be fine.
Coach, talk about Keontae Hampton this play.
Hampton is Keontae is all except for sometimes trying to do a little bit too much. He's playing phenomenal football, but he always does. He's played that way for the amount of games that he's played. He played 11 games last year, and he's played 5 games this year, 6 through 16 football games. He's been a consistent player for us. He's the leader of our defense. He's the guy, even though he's a young guy. only still 19 years old. He gets us lined up. He makes all the checks. You know, when we check into something, and he gets guys, and then he makes a lot of plays. He finds his way to the football, and you know, he as I said earlier, I just hope that he doesn't get so where he tries to do too much, because you know, when you're a really good player and people start doing some things on you that you're not usually used to happening to you, you kind of start trying to do more than you're supposed to do and get out of position. And he did a little bit of that last Saturday, but for the most part, he played phenomenally as a football player.
Walk us through also just his play overall, seeing, I guess, the upperclassmen, seeing a young guy come in and do that for y'all also. I mean...
Well, you know, if you look at the way our upperclassmen are, I think C.J. Anderson is playing good football. Tyler Rogers is playing like a senior. I mean, those guys are playing really solid football. And Ryan Thayar is playing really good football as a senior. So I think our senior guys are playing really good. You know, Khalil, C.J., Ryan, and Tyler, the seniors on the defense, I think those guys are really acquitting themselves well for us right now, along with Hamp. You know, and like we still have some other pieces that are fitting in there that we got to make sure everything else is shored up.
Coach, I know you talked about this being a young team. How do you keep them from panicking with these losses?
I don't panic. You know, I mean, football, a part of winning is learning how to win. And we've been in some tough situations, and all the situations that we've been in build something in you towards winning. And so I'm not panicking about where we are. You know, people may, but I don't, because I still think we got talent on this football team, and we've got to make sure we do a good job as football coaches to make sure we're in positions to be successful. We're working diligently at that, and like I said, I'm just going to keep doing what we're doing. We're every day we're working on being more disciplined. We're working on being better fundamentally, doing the little things in the football game and in life to help us be good football players. And so as long as we're still on course, I'm not going to panic about anything. We still got a lot of football left out there to be played, and we still have opportunity. Regardless of what people think right now, we're still 0-0 in this way. You know, this is our first game in the league, and so we just need to go out and win the game and have some good things happen for us. And I think we need some things to ignite us, and I think a good win this Saturday will ignite us.